Well, it opens up the underhook, and then you get to pass with the Kimura. But if you're not ready, you get your face cranked. That's not fun.
Alright, well, we can do that.
Yeah, look at it.
Is that all? Alright, we are live, but let me do a sound check. Always got to do our sound check.
Hello, hello, hello. Is that your power adapter?
Which one?
The blue connected to the white box connected to your computer on the left side? Or is that the input for the stuff?
The blue connected to the white, so
Yeah.
this is the video.
Do you want to connect the power just in case?
I may be able to reach over. I need an extension cord or something. There you go. Hopefully that'll, let's see here. Gotta get our,
Sit in my Cesar.
okay, say something.
你好，我的名字是柯凯文，我很喜欢练习巴西柔术，然后我也喜欢
Alright, I think, I don't know what you're doing there, but. I don't like that fan, it's irking me. I'm gonna move it back. It doesn't need power, we're not gonna go for that long. Alright, so I'll take that out and move the fan back, or the computer back. Alright.
I forget how to say passing guard in Mandarin.
What's that?
I forget how to say passing guard in Chinese. It's guo, but I don't know what guard is. Guo means to go through. Anyway.
Alright.
Alright, so one thing that I've been doing to pass the half guard.
Let there be light.
Oh yes.
Aha!
Production quality.
Production.
+5.
I just went up. Achievement unlocked.
So passing the half guard. Right, so common method that I've been working with is controlling this bottom leg, getting to the inside here and driving this shoulder in, right? And this is great because we get a lot of pressure here. I've got a lot of hip control. And then from here I can start doing things like working my knee out to drive the knee, or if he lets me free my leg, right? I can ballerina step back out and continue the passive. It's great, it works, I love it, right? Occasionally though, right? I've got a big old long neck and a lumpy head, and it sticks out the side here, right? So occasionally someone sees it and they start, they just crank it. You go ahead, right? Up and over, very uncomfortable. Right, so, can we repeat? So one thing that I've been playing with, right, as I go here is my forearm can help block this knee, but my hand is waiting for this arm. So if it comes up here, boom, we can grab it, right? And now we'll pull this out here and lock up the Kimura, right? So once I get this Kimura grip, right, what I want to do is I want to shoot my chest up and over here, and then insert my hips underneath his head and start playing this Kimura trap position here. And that's really nice. However, sometimes when we're doing this thing, right, we get the grip and the person on bottom won't let go with their legs, right? And they're just gonna hold on as hard as they can here, right? So what happens here is, since I can't just launch myself back, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna walk my ribs back, right? And then once my hips go above his head, right, I'm gonna try and get underneath here with my hip, and I'll let him hold on to this leg. Let's rotate, scream, right? So I'll use this leg and I'll keep bitten here, and we've got this like weird crucifixy thing, right? We're starting to work our way to back control, right? By getting underneath his head, I'm already kind of in like a back control here. And what this does is it like really twists his spine up and makes it very uncomfortable for the person to do anything. Do you feel like you can do anything?
Anything?
Well, yeah, anything useful.
Anything useful? No.
Great, right? So
I can do lots of things that are not going to end well for me, but
yeah,
I mean, I would, like, I think most basically probably
protect the arm.
hold your arm.
Yeah, and then so from here, like if you don't want this leg, you can always just kick out and play with the standard Kimura trap here. But I really like having this because we can keep it, and now this can be seen as like my first hook for back control here. Right, so the transition that I'm a fan of is coming, and I'm gonna underhook this arm and walk this person up to the butt, and now I can sit my knee through and take the back here. Alright, so we're playing, we're heavy, I find his arm, I get my Kimura trap, and I'm just gonna walk my hips.
You can stay here.
Alright, so once we're here, if I want to keep the leg, I can, right? People just tend to hold on to this leg even though it's not really gonna do anything useful for them, right? I can hang out here, but usually I'll switch this arm, right? So now I can come up onto this elbow and walk them up to start exposing the back here. There's also a nice guillotine here, but usually I like to bring this leg up, switch, and take the back here.
Let's go from this side. Let's get another angle from. Just kind of the back side of it.
Right, getting under the head is, I think, very important, right? If his head is flat here, right, I don't have as much control, so I try to use my hip bone to dig it up.
When you pushing off of this leg, is that what you're driving off of?
I'm not driving with
What are you gonna do? Scooping your hips
I'm
in?
just doing a little,
Okay. That's cool.
and then coming up here. Okay. Switch the arm, walk them up.
And then this arm is trapped. If my arm was here, like holding, this arm now is trapped,
That's fine.
which is extra bonus.
I like that.
Let's go this way.
I'll come back a little bit.
So here, heavy pressure, find it, coming up, right? And we're just gonna walk over his face with our ribs, right? Don't be shy, like, just don't feel afraid to smash his face, right, as we go up, right? It is gonna be very uncomfortable, right? We want to encourage him to want us to finish our transition, right? So as I go, right, if I get my Kimura here, I can take my time, right? Just bring the ribs down to the face, right? Smash him a little bit, and then come up and over here, right? I want to keep good control over this Kimura. My elbow here, I'll usually keep it locked in, right? And just tight, right? Every once in a while, there's like a little choke here, but for the most part, I either go after the guillotine or take the back. One thing that also happens, let's see, hopefully it works. I haven't done this with a helpful partner, right? But instead of going and trying to grab this hand, maybe I miss it, right? But if he goes for this arm, another option, if he goes for my crossface, if he's trying to crossface me, another option is to switch back, and now we have this underhook, right? And then if you know all the like classic, what's it, like the Hickson pass, where is it this one where you come in? And then
That'll work.
come up.
Old school. That's like almost like a. What is Hickson? Is that a Hickson thing? That's like a Marcello thing.
Really?
That's
I heard
big
it.
Marcello.
I heard it called the Hickson Pass by Steve Cornfils.
I'm sure Hickson
Yeah.
will do whatever.
Take it.
If Hickson did it, then it's Hickson has it. But that's the one that I know Marcello does. Is like that's a classic
Yeah.
Marcello pass.
Yeah. This has been a fundamental technique since I was doing jiu-jitsu. Since I started.
It's one of those techniques that you see someone do, and you it looks so simple,
Yeah.
but it is not simple. It takes a lot of skill, and they're passing against. I mean, at least Marcelo. I don't know about Hickson, but against the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
In the biggest tournaments.
Because when we get into this half guard, right, like most white belts know, or they've been told, that getting this underhook here and being able to flatten the person out is really useful, right? Because everything that he can do as a person on bottom in half guard, he can pretty much only do while on his side, at least the fundamentals. So by being able to flatten him out, we can take away a lot of his ability to utilize his hips and his legs effectively, right? Once he's flat, he has no real shrimp, right? He has no elbow escape, and he's going to be. This is a bad position for him. Plus, we're really able to like smash in here and just like dominate and pin, right? And then from here, I usually do the same thing, right? Bring this arm over, come over to the Kimura and drive it in. But if you're not like a Kimura-driven person, right, you can still find use for getting this underhook here. Right? So he goes for the cross face, and now we get our nice pass. I always forget, is my head going here or here?
Well, it depends on which one you're doing. Right? There is one that's there where you kind of you drive the shoulder in and you kind of tripod on your gas. That's kind of like that's more the I want to say the Hodger, super pressure. Like that's a Henzo kind of John technique where you get your hips up high and you can either knee cut the opposite way or you can knee cut, towards the same side. A lot of different options there.
I think the one with my head on the same side, isn't that with, that's when I have this underhook.
Well, that's the near side. That's like a BJ Penn.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of what he's famous for. Is here, yeah, because here this underhook doesn't do anything, right? I mean, I'm here, but now you have this side. Yeah. That's the Suri Katagatame, right?
Oh, that's a Kasich Katame?
Did you have my arm? No, you didn't have my arm. Right. So Kasich Katame.
So if I can, I like to control this arm, but if I miss it and he starts to like come up here, sorry. Right. We get our underhook.
That's what I get for trying to cross face him.
You get the gable and smash. Right, and then if I can get my knee through, then we can start our knee cuts. Right, in either direction, really, is possible there, or opening up for the Kimura. So if we get here and we want the Kimura, right? What I want to think about is getting this elbow to this side here, right? Elbow and neck. And then I'm going to use my legs to push myself forward, right? Open up the arm, switch the grip, insert here, and we're good, right? This is great. I like this. I feel like I did. All right, hold on. So here, get the Kimura, flare, hand. That was it.
Into the triangle. Yes.
Boom.
Here, let's do. Maybe you should do it this way so people can see that one. Okay. You'll end up in that facing the camera, I guess.
Okay, so scoop get the underhook, walk them up, bring this knee through, right? And since this leg is already over here, right, we're just gonna let him fall into the pillow of death and lock it up. And it's a really strong armbar / lat stretch from there. But that's only if that leg is over on the shoulder. I think that's usually the case.
If the person's holding, if they're trying to hold on, you have to kind of be cognizant of, I assume, like where they. I mean, you're still going to take the back. It's just extra bonus to have the arm trapped. Yeah. And I've seen, I think when Gary was showing his way out, I think he grabs the leg. I'm not sure if he grabs I think he tries to get underneath the bottom leg. He goes under the leg, he gets his arm trapped, he puts himself in like a crucifix. Goes underneath that leg. That's a kind of a way that you're going to see people to get out. I'm not going to say I can do it, but this is what he
Are we Kimura tracking?
yeah. So his thing is he'll start from here, and then he'll try to get this leg under, right? So this arm is trapped. So it's people, if you're here like this, you're going to see people who they'll do that. I mean, I've tried to do that against you. It doesn't help me at all, but it just gets my arm trapped. But this isn't, it's not like people aren't necessarily this is a mistake that people are making. Like, they'll be here, but they want to get this leg. They want to get underneath.
Oh, under here.
Yeah, they want to get here. That's what he does. And so now, theoretically, according to him, right, it's really hard for you to finish from here because I have both legs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but now you can't put your leg over my head.
That is true. Well, I can't get this leg out either.
Yeah.
I am no longer in charge of it.
So at the very minimum, I don't know, I forget what he does from here, but at least in this instance, it's going to be hard for you to finish the Kimura.
Well, honestly, in
But
the
getting
Kimura
this bottom
strap-
leg is a lot easier said than done, right? All I'm saying is that you're going, because I've seen, this is one of the defenses or escapes, is actually putting your arm under the leg, like this, scooping that leg.
Is it the top leg or the bottom leg?
Well, you're going to start off with whatever leg you want. He puts himself here. That's how he starts. And then what he does is he'll do a little bit of an arch, but not enough to give up his back. And then he does that. I mean, he's really good, right? My point is not to say that this is like a high percentage escape. I don't think it is, but it is a possibility that you're going to see people do this on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then, yeah. The other thing that always occurs to me is like all of these things are there are specific skills inside each one of these techniques. Like when you're talking about, that when you get the underhook, you switch off. Maybe you miss, you get cross face the person, then you switch off to the underhook. Being able to put your weight down and not get rolled is like, so you want to get up high, but if you go too high, you're going to get rolled. Right? Like almost my only way to defend, like if once you get here, let's say you're in this position, and go to the underhook version. Yeah. So one of the key ways to get out is to take you to my left. Trap here and try to roll you, right? One way or another. So even if you have this as a cross face, and I get this a lot. People go up, they put their hips up high, right? And then I'm able to turn it. Right? Because why? Not that there's anything wrong with this. It's that, like this position in general, it's that if you put your hips too high, you're loading yourself to go forward. You know what I mean? So you have to drill just getting enough pressure so the person can't get into you, can't turn to you, but not so much that you're going to get rolled over. You know what I mean? So for the people at home, if you want to get good at this, you have to, at the very beginning, like there's no point in getting to this position if you can't consistently control it. So you have to work on, either basing with your head right off the bat, or finding your base in this position so that you're 100% comfortable, turning your hips and exploiting this position in a way that's not going to get you carried over that way, or you sit back so much that the person now is able to recover guard, right? So you have to find that balance. Like sometimes, that's the difference between someone who's good and somebody who isn't inexperienced. When somebody gets in that weight and they just put the pressure down on you, and you just feel like, please pass. There's no momentum, right? So that you have to drill that, and it's like every other part of the techniques that you're showing that has to be drilled, right? The same thing. If you're in here and you throw go back to the very beginning, If you throw your hips in, right, and your hips are light, and the person's able to roll you, right, that's all going to be a failure. This technique's going to work. But if Kevin, he throws his hips in, and there's no way that I can take him backwards, right? So hopefully.
Well, what I like about
So my point with all of that is just to say, get a partner if you can, and drill this in a way that just that beginning is you're going to feel 100% comfortable there. You know, not like, oh, this is all just I do this and I don't. You're able to solidify that and control that position even when your hips are turned, because you don't really have base that way.
Well, I'm using like so much of my concentration is on just like using my hands to stay connected. So even if you do kind of like knock me over, I'm able to pull myself back in and kind of go from there.
But what happens is, you know, you try to do these techniques, and any technique, not this particular, but any technique, and it all falls apart on the first thing, and you're like, well, that technique doesn't work. Well, it's because you have to work on your balance and your base in that position, right? That's just, and so you should drill that as part of, you know, because each one of these are skills, like getting, you know, from that position to the Kimura and not getting rolled backwards, right? That's a skill in itself. A lot of people can get the Kimura, and then all you do is you just kind of roll them backwards, or you roll them up.
But that's the best thing about that Kimura is you can roll me and you're still going to be in a bad position.
So but that's another level of you can get rolled and you're not going to panic, and you have such a good tight connection that it's not going to get me that far. Like even if you mess up and you know I break you down to a hip, it's not like I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, some people, they get broken down and they panic and they try to do something else to maintain the position. You know, so it's one of those things that maybe even it's another thing to say, okay, what happens if you get broken down to your hip a little bit? The person's bigger than you are. Like that's another thing, right? You're going with somebody who's maybe got 20, 30 pounds on you. You have to be really 100% confident in your technique and not like, okay, you got knocked down a little bit, or you know, you got broken down to a hip, or you got rolled. You know, it's not time to panic and scramble. There may be something that you can specifically do to account for that or deal with it. You know, kind of like the arm lock that you were doing. That arm lock has a lot of pressure that you do, that like the leaning, a lot of pressure. But then, yeah, the person is going to run with it or do a hitchhiker's escape. Now you have to have something else in the can to do.
Yeah, like the pass we were talking about with the shoulder. You know, I'm trying to highlight that, you know, even if you do it correct, whatever that means, there's still going to be that opportunity for a person to try and cross.
Yes.
There's going to be opportunities for the person to do something, and your goal is to not prevent those from happening. It's to understand them and be able to use them.
Exploit them.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I mean, that's the kind of in a way, the kind of the point, right? Is you know where the holes are, and you turn it into a net.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the cool thing, is to think. You know, everyone always thinks. You know, the old saying is like the black belt thinks 20 steps ahead or something like that. It's not 20 steps ahead.
No.
It's just that you thought. You know, there's only 2 steps, and you just know the 2 steps, and you're anticipating and ready to exploit it. I like that. I like the idea of, okay, well, they're going to cross-face you. That's almost like the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
So A, be ready to be cross-faced, and even better, use it.
Yeah.
So let's just do it one more time.
Can you try and roll me when I get Alright, let's do this.
So are we doing here? You want me to roll you for the Kimura? Yeah, so here it's almost too late. Like, remember we were talking about this the other week? Like, if you think like this is where you're going to start defending the Kimura, this is hard. You've already made it really hard to defend. You know what I mean? This is already code red.
It's not bad. I think you can do something here.
You can do something, but you can do a lot of other things too. So anyway, okay, go. You want me to try to roll you?
Yeah, do whatever you want.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm stuck.
Yeah. Trying to roll you.
Let me get this knee up. There we go. Now my foot's free. I get an extra 2 feet of room. Oh, there it is.
I blocked the leg because I didn't want you to come over, right? But then I wound up getting on my back.
Once I got my knee out, though, this slid down. You still had my foot, but I was able to get kind of more above your head and start inserting that hip.
I don't like this. Like putting your arm out is a bad idea. I think that's always
I mean, but you know,
desperation. Well, yeah, if I can get to
if you
here,
see that opportunity and you take it,
but this
it's
is a dangerous game
it's a
because my
risk.
limb is coming out.
Yeah.
Now, do you want me to give you the Kimura, or do you want me to?
I'll try and find
You'll
it.
try. I'm sure you'll be fine.
not letting it behind his head. There it goes.
Yep. It's inevitable. It's like the force of.
I'm lucky I'm tall.
It is helpful.
Almost.
Let my people go. Finally knew what to do from here. All right. I'll take that as a win.
I tried to turn it into that truck roll.
I know.
Didn't work out.
Whoa. Whoa. I'd rather be passed than caught in Kimura.
What happened there? What happened?
We'll have to look at the tape.
Because I was here.
I think I took you. Oh, I took you this way,
This way.
and then you started messing with my hands, and then yeah,
I switched this.
and I didn't switch, which I should have done.
So then
And then you were able to come up.
up and over.
Yeah, I mean, I was still pointing that way, but
We ended up on this side.
yeah.
Trying to get
I'd rather have this still than being Kimura. Thank you.
Boss. Anything?
I mean, I think that's a, well, you saw even like if you can't get it, the person, like I always think in that position, that even if I get Kimura, like I want to take the, like I want to switch the Kimura. It's like switching the truck or the berimbolo. I'm always trying, like if I'm caught, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to switch, or better yet, I'll try to be caught but in a good way that's still good for me. Which I think you are very, very good at, right? Like you'll give up the Kimura. Like never trade Kimuras with a Kimura master.
Or me.
Or, well, I meant him.
So if you get this Kimura here, what do I do? Oh, I know what I do. Alright, if you get here, yeah.
Yes, that's what I try to do.
I always go.
I learned this all from you. I learned from you,
If I
Dan.
can get this truck.
Yes. Yep. Oh, and then
Let
give
that
up my
on.
back. Yep.
It's weird because like when I'm on top, that's what I want to do. When I'm on bottom, that's also what I want to do, you know? Like in both situations, I am very comfortable with that happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just focused on, for both of them, if I'm on bottom or on top, trying to get that hook behind and then using that to not really establish back control, but it helps feed in that truck hook, which I like a lot.
Well, like you did in this time, not that time, but the time before, you were able to even come up into a good passing, like a really good passing position.
With that knee across.
So, you know, another kind of fail scenario that you can take advantage of, and that you do take advantage of really well, is if you're here, right, and you're not getting, and the person takes you over, look at, now it's like you're attacking the legs. Yes. That in and of itself, if you're able to do that consistently,
yeah.
it's
Well,
super
first,
powerful.
First I get this,
Mm.
right? Because that's the first thing available. And then once I can get this situated, then I can
And you
switch
lock
to
in
that
the truck hook. So, I mean, this is another kind of, I think, helpful thing for people to deal with is they're not afraid of getting rolled either direction.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're here and the person just manages, look at that first hook, throws it, and now I'm really in trouble right here in many ways.
But you should be able to kind of fight that battle too.
Yes. So, but the thing is like, so this goes back to the original point of you have to drill.
Yeah.
That you put in the work to drill and get that, and it's not easy either because when you have long legs, they can be an asset in some respects and a liability in other respects, unless you really drill. And so, I think you put in a lot of work in terms of getting that leg agility and figuring out the exact configuration that makes sense for you and like how you're manipulating my legs, so that if I'm just making it up, if I haven't put in the work, you're gonna have an advantage because you have, right? I mean, you just know what you want to do.
We spent like 5 months working that berimbolo position where this kind of leg situation comes up.
But we did it. I mean, we did it from different angles. Like we did it from more of an inversion with a gi, and so it's the same thing, right? Like if you spent all the time with the gi and you're used to being able to manipulate the fabric and those grips, then that's not the same as what you're doing right now. And so you don't want to be in the position where you're making this stuff up. Like while it's happening, you have to drill. I mean, that's pretty intricate leg work. It's not necessarily hard leg work, but you have to figure out what works for you.
It's not intuitive.
Like if I just sit there, I can just kick my legs out, right? Like if we did that, I mean, a lot of times my best escape is just kicking my legs out and trying to work my way up. But then you're gonna get on top. Right? So I'm giving up the position in a sense. And maybe I get back into a guard, but that's not really a win for me in a way because we were entangled, and somebody who's really good would be able to exploit that entanglement to do something on like from the bottom person. Like if you did that to Rafael Mendes, he's probably going to win the exchange, right? So why? It's not because he just intuitively probably could do it.
I mean, he does,
but because why? Because he's drilled it a billion times, gi and no gi. You're probably not going to. It's unlikely that you would win the exchange. I think the best thing that you'd be able to, just like a chess master, right? A lot of times with chess, those guys, if they know they're going to be beat, they'll just play for the draw. Right. So at the very minimum, with a guy anybody with experience, they're going to find a way to just neutralize and not lose, and so they'll go back to the beginning position, and they won't have lost anything at the minimum. You know what I mean? But you have to know that all the variables in that exchange.
And there are a lot in those little bolos or those rolly back takes. There's just there's just so many moving parts. I don't know. Let me try and be able to explain this because Ethan does this rolling thing a lot where he's just like in half guard and he's just like, and then for some reason it never works out, right? And so it's
not to call Ethan out or anything.
How do we turn this idea into something functional, right? So what I was focusing on is not being knee barred here or anything, and I want to focus on getting this hook in here, right? And then this not only protects my leg, but it gives me a little bit more hip control. Because my goal is I want this leg, right? But it's not going to be near me every time. So once I get this locked in, then if I can make this
that's pretty nice.
And then
now you can extend now on my side. I like that it's like a leg drag, right?
So we start here, right? No, we start here. Here. No.
Gosh, go back.
Alright, so we said, we're gonna roll. Alright, so we rolled. And here. Alright. This is the first exchange. And then
you elevate my hips up. So that's how you find this leg. This leg is the bottom side of the leg. Your hip side leg is the one that you have to be worried about, right? This is
here, and then use this to help open up. Because if it's straight, can you extend your left leg? It can be hard to get this in. But we can help feed it in. Or use the hand, just put it where you need it and get it. And then hip control, shoulder control.
But you can just practice that 1,000 times. Right? Until it has to be that it's, ideally it's not just I need to go get that leg. You go get it. You're already hunting for the leg with your legs as you're doing your thing.
You should have, hopefully, or if you don't have one, you should develop an idea of what you're trying to do. And that's what we did. Can I borrow your body for the berimbolo?
Do you want me to stand up?
Just sit, please. Sit. Because we did this for forever. Let's pretend I have this rolling up, right? And this is the same position that we were just in. Right? So first, We got
It's just
this
opposite
in,
leg now.
and now we want to get this. Right? So yeah, we spent like 5 months doing just that. Because our Barambolas were non-existent. And it, like, with Elias and his help, like, gradually got those ideas. And now when I roll, I can see the opportunities, which is really nice. But it took like a lot of hours just to get comfortable. And
So you can totally lose that position or even just roll, right? And instead of, I mean, so this is the, you know, the direction of jiu-jitsu for, I guess, a number of years is now the pass is not even the pass to cross side. The pass is to the back.
Mhm.
Either way, like either it's Kimura trap, right? It's back control. Or Barambola, right? Very few people, like at a high level, I think anymore. Maybe the heavyweights are more into like kind of passing across side now.
Yeah.
But no, because why? Because people are so flexible and so good in their guards that you can't break through the front.
Yeah. And people will, you know, rather, like at high enough level tournaments, people would rather dive and let you settle in on a pass. Like they will fight you tooth and nail, and if you start to pass, they're turtling, right? So you have to almost expect people to expose their back at some point, even when you get close to finishing.
Yeah.
Like a good person, like, you know, they'll roll over. You're not gonna have that opportunity.
How many times do you see? I mean, I was watching a lot of Gordon Ryan. I mean, not that much, but I was watching a couple of his matches, and he does a lot of things exceptionally well. But one of the things he does is he creates a lot of pressure, and then the person turns.
Mm-hmm.
And once you turn away to protect your guard, he is on your back every time. Like he doesn't. I mean, he can pass to cross side, right? He's really good at that too. But like you said, at a high level, the guys aren't going to let you settle in. They have to take their chances with the fleeing. And there are multiple matches, probably over 10, 15 matches, where at some point that guy goes to turn, either because even from his guard, sometimes he'll like do that little tripod sweep thing that he does, and then they'll turn, and then he's up on their back.
Yeah.
You know, so exposing the back, gold standard of passing.
I agree.
All right, thanks, Coach Kevin.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Fun.
Have a great weekend.
Hopefully that was useful.
No Monday.
We should keep looking at that. More.
Yeah, I need to drill that. I haven't drilled that in 4 months.
More
probably.
truck stuff.
More truck roll, yeah. All right, guys, thank you.
10th Samurai Jiu-Jitsu. Planet Samurai.